Hey, dream builders. Hi. So, for those of you who I haven't already met, my name is Logan, and I'm a part of the Unicorn Squad. So, tonight's lesson is going to show us how important preparation is in all areas of our life. So, just like we prepare to the T down to the smallest detail for the super fun things, getting married, going on vacation, having children. Okay, well, sometimes we don't plan for that, but you know what I mean. We also need to plan for life events that aren't quite as fun. So let's do that tonight. Before we get to our guest, though, can you see me okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Type yes, type hello, say what's up. And I'm going to look at that right now. Hey, Tiffany. Hey, Adila. Can you guys hear me okay? You guys see me okay? Let me know something. Hey, hey, hey. Good evening. Yes and yes. Okay. Thank you, Joan. Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right, cool. So it looks like we're good. So our guest tonight is Roslyn Lash, and she is both a dream catcher and a dream builder. Yes. So if you caught last week's lesson on resumes with Libre Jones, also another dream builder. So moral of the story here is use your resources in the academy. Get engaged in our private Facebook group. We have it there for a reason. Ask questions, seek out experts in areas that you need help in. It is all right here. So let's just take advantage of that. Oh, Sharetta, you can't see me? Can you guys see me? Sharon? Two people saying they can't see me. Michelle, Karen. You guys see me? All right, well, I'm going to keep talking until I get some more comments. So tonight's lesson is how to prepare for job loss. And I know we have a lot to cover. So let me just quickly read you Roslyn's bio so that she can get started. Roslyn Lash, she is an accredited financial counselor and the author of The 7 Fruits of Budgeting. She specializes in financial education, adult coaching, and works virtually with adults, helping them to navigate through their personal finances like budgeting, debt, and credit repair. Roslyn is a real estate broker and landlord, and she's also the founder of Youth Smart Financial Education Services. Her advice has been featured in national publications such as USA Today, Time, Huffington Post, NASDAQ, Los Angeles Times, and a host of other media outlets. Hey, Roslyn, welcome, welcome.
Hi, thank you. And hi, Dream Builders.
So I'm so glad you're on tonight. I honestly would have never even thought about what I can do sort of ahead of time or what I can just have in place to make things easier in the event of job loss. So say hey to your fellow dream builders. Tell us what we should be doing right now.
Okay, so I'm going to break it down to before a layoff and after a layoff, and I'll give you 12 steps. But first, I just kind of want to give you some background as to how I experienced this. I've been working with an organization for 6 years, and then they announced that there was going to be a reorganization, and I would be working under another supervisor. And when that happened, I thought, oh my gosh, because this supervisor did not have the best reputation for retaining employees. So that was, I worked under her for a little over 3 years. So at that point, I realized, because sometimes you see the writing on the wall, and just knowing that I was going to be under her, I saw the writing on the wall. So I decided to do some things that I had not done before. For example, I live in an older house. It was built in the late 70s. And you know how you procrastinate? Well, I procrastinated, and I needed some, gosh, I can't think of what it's called, insulation in the roof, the overhead. Well, once I started working under her, I thought I better get this installation, because if something should happen and I lose my job, then installation is, it's not a glorious purchase, but it would actually help on my utility bills. I also thought, well, while I'm working, let me get my house refinanced, because at that time the interest rates were fluctuating, but they were low, considerably low. So I got my house refinanced. Those are the things that you want to do when you see the writing on the wall. But now I'm going to break down, and I have my little handy dandy notes here. I'm going to break down some things that you can do, some steps that you can do once you realize that a layoff is imminent. So the first thing would be to update your resume. You want to update your resume and create a LinkedIn profile. Knowing that you're going to be laid off, you can ask some of your supervisors, um, your previous or current supervisor, depending on your situation, to write you a recommendation on LinkedIn. That in itself will let anyone that's looking at it, that will let them know that you did provide some value to the company, while you were there. The next step, number 2, would be to learn a new skill. Because if many of us work on jobs that we just don't like, and we work on them just simply because we need the money, but we're miserable. So a layoff could be a blessing, but you do need to learn some new skills. So once you find out that it's coming, that's your opportunity to get some new skills. Classes are offered at different community organizations, and they're offered for a nominal fee. You can get a certification and it would take under a year. So I would say learn a new skill. Number 3 is to make your medical appointments. Knowing that you're not going to have a job probably also means, especially if you're a single parent like I am, it means that you're not going to have any insurance. So you need to go to the doctor now. Anything that you know that needs to be done, including dental work, go ahead and have it done while you're still on the payroll, and you can pay that small deductible. You do want to keep your receipts, however, because, for example, if you go to the dentist now, so you go to the dentist on May the 25th, and you get laid off on we'll say June 15th, but the dentist doesn't submit their paperwork until after that, there may be a problem. The insurance company may say you weren't covered when you actually were. It was just a simple issue with the timing of when they submitted the paperwork. So you definitely want to keep that. That happened to me. And fortunately, I had my paperwork and I could present it. And I said, here, no, I was covered. But if I had not had that, perhaps they would have looked at it and found out. I don't know. But I didn't want to take that chance because that's extra money. Being laid off, I didn't have any money to pay for dental work. So again, you want to have your medical appointments and dental appointments. Then number 4, you want to check to see what your company's rules are for your vacation time and for your sick time, because it could be that you are going to get paid for that time. If you're going to get paid for it, then that's good, because that'll go a ways towards your emergency savings. You do have to realize that they're going to take taxes out of it, so you're not going to get as much as you would have expected, but that'll go a distance towards your emergency savings. If you're not going to get paid for it, then you want to start taking your time, because you can use that time to vacation, to get your home in order, to get your financial house in order, or to take classes. there's a local organization, and I'm sure there are organizations in every area of the country. They're nonprofit organizations, and they're connected to universities. And you can go to that nonprofit organization, take some classes, and get a certification from the university at a very low or nominal fee. So during my time, knowing I was going to get laid off, and well, I didn't get laid off, but knowing I was going to lose my job, because like I said, the writing was on the wall, and knowing that they had classes, and this particular class was from 4 to 8 hours per month. So what I did was every month I would submit my request, and I took that class and I got a certification. So I had something else to enhance my resume by the time I lost my job.
Roslyn, I love this. You are the queen of prepared. I would have never even thought of that. That's a great idea. And y'all, she is making me work with these steps. So I'm trying to keep up and write them for y'all.
Okay, I'll try to go.
No, it's awesome. No, this is awesome. These are concrete steps that people can take. And so this is good. Thank you.
Yes. And the next step is to budget. We talk about budgeting a lot. And the reason is because budgeting is the foundation of financial wellness. Because if you don't budget, you don't know where your money is going. And I mention it in my book, which is entitled The Seven, look, I lost my chain of thought. The Seven Fruits of Budgeting. I mentioned it in my book. Budgeting is like a GPS for your finances. If you were going somewhere that you weren't familiar with, you would not get in your car and just go randomly driving. You would have your GPS on. So it's the same principle. A budget tells your money where to go, just as a GPS tells you where to go. So you definitely want to get a budget. You want to minimize unnecessary expenses. And mainly, you're going to be dealing with your living expenses. For example, we always want our hair, and well, I don't get my nails done, but you want your hair and your nails done and maybe a pedicure or whatever. Those things are nice, but they're not necessities. And so when you're budgeting, you need to make some adjustments and decide what you can live with and what you can't live without. So for example, I end up going natural. Well, the reason that I went natural mostly was because my hair was thinning, but partly because it saved me some money. Because when I wasn't working, I didn't have any money to go get my hair done. And since it was thinning, that meant I would have had to get treatments too. So all of that you have to consider. The next step, which is step number 6, if I can if I can add right,
Yes,
is okay. Yeah, next step is to save. And sometimes you do feel like, well, I'm losing my job or I don't have anything to save. But truthfully, we usually there's something to save, no matter how little it is. Just like there's never too much that you can save. There's not too little that you can save. Now, ideally, you want to have an emergency savings that's going to be between 3 and 6 months, and some experts say 8 months of expenses. What I would prefer to do is I kind of like to look at my area of where I live, and of course you would look at where you live and see how long does it take someone to get a job. Look at the unemployment stats, because if it typically takes someone 5 months to get a job, but you only have 3 months of emergency savings, that's something you have to consider. The main question that you need to think of is, based on your savings now, how long will it take before you go into foreclosure, before you are evicted from your apartment, before your car is repossessed, before you don't have any food? Those are questions that you actually have to consider. And therefore, when you're budgeting for your savings, try to save appropriately, looking at your expenses, your life expenses.
But what's important, Roslyn, is you're saying basically don't get necessarily overwhelmed with it. Just, it's not too little that you can save. Just save something.
Save something. Exactly. And this was look, I'm showing my age. This was a long time ago. But when I was in college, we got a stipend of $7.50. Now, even back then, $7.50 a week wasn't a lot because I still had to put gas in the car and still wanted to eat something. But I saved that 50 cents. And eventually I ended up with $40. Not a lot of money, but I always knew that if I had to call a cab, and in today's time, if you have to call an Uber, you at least got $40. So, I mean, in this case, I would have at least had $40. So yes, exactly. Save something. Because that the money that you're spending at the vending machines, or that you're going in the mornings to get your latte, all of that adds up. And if you know that you're losing your job, those are the things that you need to start cutting out. You have to start being rigid on your expenses.
You can't get away from budget and savings, y'all. Tiffany would preach on that. So
you cannot get away from it. You really can't. And like I said, expenses, not luxuries. Now, also, as a part, and one important reason why you want to budget is if you've already lost your job and you're contacting your mortgage company asking for a loan modification, meaning you want them to modify your loan based on your new income or your new situation, they're going to ask you for a budget. You don't need to contact them first and then try to devise a budget. You need to have your budget first, because they're going to look down your budget and say, no, I don't see where you need this. You got several items. In fact, years ago, in my prior life, that's what I did. Some loan modifications, and some people had 2 car payments, and they would say no, especially if it was one person. No, they need to get rid of the car. So do your budget before you contact the bank. Now, after the layoff, you want to apply for your benefits, apply for your unemployment benefits. If you're fortunate enough to get a severance package, then you need to apply for the benefits after you've received the severance package, because if you apply before, then there may be some complications. So make sure that you've received your last severance payment. When you're applying for unemployment, make sure that you're clear on exactly what happened and what the dates are. So, your last date of work, the date you were advised, your last check, because those details could have a great impact on whether you get the benefits or not. And we did speak of budgeting, because I have to mention that again. You want to reduce some items such as cable bill. You can actually use a streaming device. You can get a cheaper cell phone plan. I just had to interject that, because before the layoff, that your money is going to be cut, but some items you still will continue to have, because after all, you're still getting a check. After the layoff, you even need to go and streamline even further. And one of the things that I streamlined, and I hate to tell you, but I waited for a while for cable, because I have some shows that I just absolutely thought that I had to look at.
Hard to let go of.
Yeah, I just had to. But after the layoff, I end up saving probably around a little over $100 a month. because that's when that's when the rubber met the road. And I said, no, you can't do this. So I had to call and get a streaming device and bought a small antenna. My antenna in itself, it's an analog antenna. It'll get about 15 channels. And then with the streaming device, and there's several uh, um, devices and where you can get internet television for like $20 a month. So I'm saying all that. We spoke about budgeting, but then now that you're actually laid off and there's no money coming in, you need to revisit the budget. The 10th thing would be to apply for subsidies.
Oh, wait a minute now. We're on step 10?
Yeah, because the first thing was, well, I think 8 was reduce the cable bill.
Okay.
9 was get a cheaper cell phone plan.
Got it.
And 10 is apply for subsidies.
All righty.
Now, applying for subsidies, depending on your new income, you may qualify for government subsidies. You may qualify for food stamps or Medicaid or anything that reduced daycare. I qualified for reduced YMCA membership. The membership fee normally was somewhere around $37. Well, they took off about $12. Not 12. They took off about $20 on the membership fee because my new income qualified for me to get a subsidy. So what you have to do is just ask, is there a subsidy? And quite often, if you fall below, below an income level, and you will when you lose your job, you will qualify for those subsidies. So you have to ask for that. You want to network as much as possible. If you lose your job because you were fired, you're going to feel a little bit embarrassed, but you can't because you need to do what you can do to get that money. So you need to start networking. Let people know that you are in search of a job. Contact the Chamber of Commerce. They have several opportunities and meetings and networking gatherings that you can attend. You can meet people. So several of the universities, the small universities, have a small business association. They have classes. They have networking events where you can go to free. You can get information and you can, put out there what you're doing. And like in my case, I was starting new. I had done financial coaching, financial counseling before, but I'm starting on my own. I just wrote the book, The 7 Fruits of Budgeting. So I needed to network as much as possible. You need to do that definitely. And even if you have to get some business cards that just state, what your area of expertise is and that you're searching for opportunities, give that to them because they give out cards at these events quite often. So that's definitely what you want to do. And use Facebook. Facebook has, and I don't know if it's a particular group that has jobs in it. Wait a minute. I don't know if the area that I'm in someone has set up a group for jobs or if it's set up just for any area. But here in the area that I'm in, which is North Carolina, there's a Facebook group where you can go on and it tells you all about different jobs. And these are jobs with large companies, small companies, at-home jobs, various jobs. You just go in and you look at the different postings. So of course you want to look at that, look at Indeed, and you'll be able to find something. You'll at least be able to get your name out there so that people will know. Number 12 is to begin an exercise regimen.
Oh, we were doing so well. Now you have to go and talk about exercise.
I know. It's kind of hard. I don't always do it, but you're right. We do have we have to get an exercise regimen
Go ahead.
because when you go to work, let's say if you go at 8 o'clock, you walk through the door at 8 o'clock, you log on, then you look and see what time it is. It's 8:08. And you think, I've only been here a few minutes. Years ago, I worked at the airline and excuse me, and we had to hit Z and enter to give us the time. I hit Z and enter, and when I hit it the next time, it was 4 seconds later.
I know
So, yes. So when you're at work, time just drags on. But when you're at home, shoom, it's gone. You get, so you need to get a schedule, get up, get some exercise going, because the things that you do not value, for example, you may not like your job, you may not like the interactions of some of the people that are there, but just the interaction that you have, the human contact when you walk in, it's good morning, how are you? Just the idle chit chat that you don't value when you're not working, you value it. And going to the Y or getting some exercise or getting a schedule will allow you to kind of get in the groove, because believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying it, but you will end up wanting to work again. You want to be around people again. So that's the main thing is you want to be around like-minded people. So even if you don't have a job, if you go into Facebook groups, you will meet people in the Facebook groups that you can identify with, that you can chat with. I mean, I've met people that were right here in my own city in a Facebook group, but didn't know them, prior to that. But you meet people with like minds, and those people will lift you higher and will help you get the job, that you want, or help you elevate your business, elevate your goals. And you'll be able to see more because, of being with those people. And then the bonus is, and that's number 13.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the bonus. Don't forget about your retirement. If you have a 401k or some retirement, even if it's a government retirement where you're going to get a pension, do not forget about it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take it out. Personally, I didn't take mine out because I was working with the local government, and the state government had an annuity plan. So I left it in there because it has been doing well. Like I said, it's a state program, so that it's kind of monitored. And eventually, when I retire, I'll receive a monthly payment. But if you're in the company's 401k plan and you stop contributing, then it could, depending on what you're invested in, it could remain dormant. So you want to decide and find out exactly what you have in your account to decide if you want to transfer it over to another administrator. And you can just Google retirement administrator and then look at the reviews for the administrator. Right off the top of my head, I know that there's Fidelity and Prudential, and there's a host of others, but just Google and find out what the criteria is for transferring. And if you want to transfer, again, you might not want to, depending on what the benefits are with the program that you have. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers all of our steps.
Okay, so Roslyn, you have provided us with so much concrete information. My biggest suggestion is watch the video again, because I know I'm gonna have to, because you gave us so much information, so many things that we can do. But can we just, because I got called out for missing step 7, can we just go over all the steps 1 through 12 again, and then after that I will start taking questions, because we had some questions. So yeah. Step 1
is get a resume and post on LinkedIn.
Okay. Step
Number two,
learn.
learn a new skill.
Okay.
Number three is schedule your medical appointments. Step four is watch or determine or find out the rules for your time, your vacation time, your PTO time, so you can take it accordingly. The next step, I should have numbered these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5 is budget. Create a budget. Number 6 is to begin, start saving.
Savings, yeah.
Save as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. Step 7.
7, and that's after you have lost the job, is to apply for unemployment benefits after your severance pay ends. That's what, 7, 6?
That was 7. So now we're on step 8.
Okay. Reduce your cable bill. Look, let me look. I got it right here. Yeah. Number 8, reduce your cable bill.
Huh?
9, change your cell phone bill, because there's some cell phone plans that are under $25.
Absolutely.
Yes. Number 10, apply for subsidies. 11, network. 12, exercise and interact. And the last one is don't forget your retirement account.
All right. All right. So now we got it. We got it all together. I'm going to start taking any questions. I'm going to kind of just start from the top. So let me see. Okay. So Tiffany Dogan is asking, will it be better to refinance your home or save for the possibility of losing income? My concern is the number of inquiries on my credit report for refinancing items.
It depends on the interest rate. A general rule is if interest rates are 2% more than your current loan, then you should consider refinancing, especially if you intend on residing in the house for at least 4 years. So if the interest rates are low, so and in my case, the reason that I refinanced, because my interest rate was roughly 2.2 higher than the prevailing rate. So it benefited me to refinance while I had a job so that my mortgage payment would be less. So when I lost the job, I would be able to pay it. Now, what I did do was I refinanced it and the mortgage payment was less. And while I was still working, I went ahead and prepaid the mortgage. So I paid my regular old payment, the higher amount, until I was not able to pay it anymore. So you just kind of have to weigh it depending on how much savings you currently have and what your interest rate is on your loan.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany. Hope that helps. Mrs. L asks, are these tips also relevant if you are fired instead of being laid off?
I was fired. Yeah, they're relevant. Yeah, they're relevant.
Okay. Butterbeans Cool 811 says, I'm going to cut off my gym membership. Butterbeans, I have like 4 gym memberships. I have to get things under control. I go to like 1 sometimes. So I'm with you on that. Let's see. Patricia Klein says, there is no imminent job loss for me, but almost every time I head to work, I feel like I want to lay myself off for 3 months to a year, mental and spiritual sabbatical. That's a lot of us, Patricia. Right, Roslyn?
Yes, it is. It's a lot of us. But that also tells you, as I said, that the writing is on the wall. The writing may be on the wall because you don't want to get to the point that you're absolutely miserable and then you're forced to leave the job. I mean, not that they're forcing you, but you'll be forced to leave the job because you can no longer perform the duties. So if the writings are on the wall, then you do need to take some of these steps as far as saving so that if it comes to the point that you cannot perform the task any longer, then you'll at least be able to leave and still eat.
Right. Great advice, Roslyn. Michelle Johnson says, what if most of your career is primarily as an IC and or 1099 and none of those benefits are applicable, like severance, vacation, unemployment?
IC is
independent contractor.
Independent contractor. Okay, so then if it's an independent contractor, then she's actually going to have to start saving. I mean, if she has insurance, if she's on, if she has an insurance plan that she's paying the premiums, then she needs to go ahead and as I said, go ahead and have those medical appointments. You won't have that luxury as far as the time that we spoke of if you had PTO time or vacation time, but you still can budget and save. And in fact, you'll need to do it and be more vigorous in it, because you will not have the unemployment benefits. So you'll need to start as soon as possible eliminating unnecessary expenses.
Michelle Johnson is asking, where do you contact to see if you qualify for subsidies?
It depends on the type of subsidy that you're looking for. But if you're speaking of like medical subsidies or food stamps, then that would be the local Department of Social Services. So you can start with social services, and what they will do, even if you don't qualify or they don't have anything that you qualify for, they can connect you with other organizations that may be able to help. Because there are other organizations that, although they may not have Medicaid, but they do have some type of medical assistance that they can provide you. So yes, that's what you'll need to do. And if you, for example, if it's childcare, then you'll need to ask if it's a childcare facility that's affiliated with a larger organization, a nonprofit organization, or like the Y, then you need to ask them if they offer any discounts or subsidies for childcare. As I said, in my case, it was the Y. So then that's what I asked. You'll just need to do your homework and find out who offers what.
Okay. So in regards to, some folks are asking for streaming device options. I see Karen recommends Fire Stick, Roku. I also need to cut my cable. Y'all, I'm a mess. I have cable. I need to get on streaming services, and I haven't. So this is good information for me as well. So Fire Stick, Roku. Someone has mentioned Sling as options for streaming to kind of help you cut that tie with the cable company. Yes. Facebook, Shanna says, Facebook does offer private pages. This is in relationship to the jobs that people post jobs for the city that you are in. I live in California, and the one in Maya is now hiring. So get on Facebook and join some of those groups for your local areas. Kenya has mentioned, she says that getting a schedule is very important. So like I said, Roslyn, that comes with like exercise and just kind of maintaining a schedule, not, allowing yourself to go into isolation or hibernation, but to really just take action.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Because otherwise you'll become complacent.
Let's see what else. On a Mission mentioned, if you have a Goodwill office, they give a Goodwill office, not the store, but they give free classes.
Yes, Goodwill, and oftentimes Goodwill, they're connected with some of the local community colleges. So they'll offer a few classes. You can get some certifications, and the certifications will come through the college.
You said it'll come through the college?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Deborah Carter asked Roslyn, how long did it take you to find a new job?
I actually didn't find a new job. I became an entrepreneur because while I was well, actually, while I was still working, I started to get a certification as a financial coach. I started that, but then once I lost the job, it's when I really decided, okay, you need to pick it up and go ahead and get that certification. So that's what I did. I got my certification to be a financial coach. And now I started a company where I do financial coaching and education.
And you see that, y'all? Here she is, dream builder, got fired from a job, and here she is, entrepreneur, and she's here telling us what we should do and how to get ourselves in order. So anything's possible. Just don't give up. Stacy Turner says, great information. I was just laid off in April, and I'm happy to report that I have done everything on the list except number 10. Stacy, you're on the money.
So everything. Look, I should have. Oh yeah, she hasn't applied for the subsidies yet.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, that's amazing that you got all this accomplished. Like I said, I haven't done one thing, so I'm really that's impressive, Stacy.
Yes,
number 10. Mm-hmm. Jennifer J says, hi, Ms. Lash. I work seasonally in healthcare, so I work an average of 8 to 9 months a year. How can I better manage my debt? I collect unemployment when I'm not working.
It's when you are working, it's when you need to start saving and eliminating those debts. Again, it all starts with the budget, because if you look at some items, there are some things that you are spending on that are not necessities, and that's okay. I address that in the book. It's okay to have wants, but as long as you realize, for example, when you're working, you probably tend to buy more clothes because you're going to work. But if you decided, I'm not going to buy anything else, then I'm going to wear what I have, that's automatically going to save you some money. So that will save money. So then the off times where you're not working, you'll have more to tide you over. So basically, you just got to narrow down what is important to you and create a budget and follow it.
Stacy says, I filed for unemployment in my current state, but I'm considering moving to a different state. Do I have to reapply for unemployment?
The unemployment should be just for the state that you're in. Now you'll need to check with the unemployment, the Employment Security Commission to verify. But I believe the unemployment is for the state that you're in where the job was. But again, I'm not certain on that, so do verify with them.
Karen is asking, where can you seek out certification regarding financial coaching?
It's an acronym. Wait, I have to write it down just to tell you. Wait a minute. Accredited Financial Coaching Planning Education.org. So it's AFCPE.org. Accredited Financial Coaching Planning Education.org. AFCPE.org.
AFCPE.org. Okay, I'll put that in the comments. Okay, guys, any more questions? But while we're doing that, you guys, if you have any more questions, I want to talk about your book, Roslyn. So Roslyn has this information as well as obviously a host of other information in her book, which is called The 7 Fruits of Budgeting. So Roslyn, just tell us a little bit about what the 7 Fruits of Budgeting, what it's all about, and what we can get in this amazing book that you have on Amazon.
Thank you. The 7 Fruits of Budgeting, it is based on the biblical principle, the fruits of the Spirit, which is in Galatians 5:22. It gives several attributes that a person must have in order to be spiritually fulfilled. And My book addresses the attributes that a person has to have in order to be financially fulfilled. So you'd have to be kind, kindness, goodness, discipline, patience, love, faithfulness, and joy. So those are the 7 fruits that you would need to have to be financially fulfilled. Like, for example, love encompasses loving other people, caring for other people, and it also includes caring for yourself. I'm not saying that in a selfish manner, but many people are allowing their loved ones to take advantage of them because they're enablers. And enabling is not love. I give an example in the book of someone that they are paying the mortgage for their loved one. Well, the loved one is living in the family home, and they're paying all of the expenses, but that person is healthy, able-bodied, and has a job. So each of those principles, I address what you can do so that you will be financially fulfilled and financially fruitful. And then I also kind of dive into areas that could make you, or your mindset that could make you spend more, because all of us have past experiences and experiences that we've gone through and our mindset that make us spend more. Perhaps it's because we grew up with less than and we're trying to compensate. But if you can identify those, then that will help you in your spending habits. And then, of course, I do actually go into budgeting, how to create a budget and how to make a budget so that it can be equally distributed between a husband or wife or whoever's living together if one person makes a significantly higher than the other person. So yes, I do address all of that. And in addition to the items that I mentioned here, other items I mentioned in the book too.
Okay, so you really go into kind of like the psychological reasons for why we tend to spend more, overspend. You look at it from a biblical angle.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so 7 Fruits of Budgeting is on Amazon. I put the link in the comments. I'll also put it over on the Facebook side, of course. Just one more question. Monique Harris asked, can you receive unemployment if you resign?
Rarely. I have known very few people to receive unemployment when they resign, because typically that is viewed as a choice that you made. So it's very rare. It's not impossible, but it's extremely rare.
Okay, Joan Clark co-signs what you said. She said she's been in HR for over 5 years, and yeah, she hasn't seen where you can reapply or apply for unemployment if you do resign. Mm-hmm. F. Graham asks is asking again, how do I find certifications at colleges, not financial one, general certifications?
Oh, when you go on the college website and you look at the curriculum, it will tell you which ones are certification programs and how long they are. And it just depends on what you're looking at. For example, if real estate, it's not a certification because you're actually have a license, but that's something that you can get in under a year. So when you go on the websites, then it will tell you if it's a certification, if it's a license, what the cost is, and how long it will take.
Okay, so this is great advice, Roslyn. We all have a lot of homework to do to get ourselves prepared. Jennifer is asking, do you still offer credit counseling and credit repair services?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And well, that brings us to another question, which is, let us know where we can find you. What's your website? What's your social media handles?
My website is my name, Roslyn Lash, ROSLYN LASH.com, RoslynLash.com. Social media, Roslyn Lash. And Twitter, it's Roslash, Roslash. And I haven't done very much on Instagram, but I do have a handle and I am going to start. So on Instagram, it's Coach Roslash.
Okay. Well, guess what? She's also a dream builder, so y'all can find her right in our dream builder group as well. So you don't have to go far. So what we're going to do is we are going to do what we normally do. We're going to go over to the Facebook side. There will be a post there. You guys can let Roslyn know what great advice she gave, what you're going to do first, what steps you're going to take. And also, if you have any other questions, if you have specific questions, she'll be over for a while, just kind of answering them. And make sure that you tag Ask the Expert, no S, and tag the Budgetnista, of course. And that's all I have, guys. It's been great. Thank you, guys.
Can I say one more thing? Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. And I do have a Facebook group also.
Okay.
And it's Smart Savers Supreme.
Okay, let me type that in for them. Smart Savers
Supreme, yes. Yeah, there are a couple of Smart Savers, so had to put the Supremes on the end.
Supremes, yes. Okay, so Smart Saver Supreme is there a private Facebook group?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm putting private Facebook group. All right, guys, thank you so much. We will see you on the other side over in our Academy Facebook group. Thank you.
Okay, see you soon.